we were talking earlier. Can you explain why you are an atheist?
Well, there are moral arguments. Like I read the Bible and I see the moral side of its absurdity, like eternal torture and hellfire, all those things. Same apply to Quran. That's one thing, quite clear. But purely on the metaphysical side, uh, I'm a theoretical mathematician myself, and while working with mathematics, I see a world that exists from its own reasons, so to speak. I'm not a metaphysician, but I'm seeing things that are the way they are, not because of any design or any choice by whoever, by humans, by God, and so on. Here's an easy example of something from pure mathematics. Okay, a fact, a mathematical law. So try to bear with me and here and do some math. If we take um, 3 squared plus 4 squared, that's 9 plus 16, all right? That gives us 25, which is 5 squared. So it is possible that a square of a number, of a whole number, plus another square of a number gives you together, they make up a square of a number, right? So that's a possibility. 3 squared plus 4 squared gives us together a 5 squared. Now let's try the same with cubes. For example, we can take 9 cubed, which is 729. If you do 9 times 9 times 9, 9 cubed, and 10 cubed, 10 times 10 times 10,000. Together, that's 1,729, which is just one more than 1,728, and that's 12 cubed. 12 times 12 times 12. So we can take a cube plus a cube. It can get very close, but it cannot be equal to another cube. So here we have a non-trivial fact. It's not obvious at all that this is not possible. It's hard to prove, but it's true. It's the easiest case of the so-called Fermat's last theorem. That if we have a square plus square, it can be a square, but a cube plus a cube cannot be a cube. So my question is, who designed that? Who decided that this should be like this? Well, clearly not God, because numbers are numbers. They are whatever they are. There is nothing to decide or to choose here. We have something that's not trivial, something that's not obvious that it should be true, and yet it is true, and clearly it is not decided by anybody. It's true for its own reasons. Its truth is grounded in just how it goes. So it's up to those things themselves, not up to God's decisions or our decisions. We couldn't have decided in any other way. Counting is pretty straightforward. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. We just count how many balls or things or whatever there is. So we cannot decide those things either. God cannot decide those things either. So we are left with the world that has its own rules, that has its own features. They are not trivial, not obvious. So there's content there, and nobody created that content. So I'm thinking, well, if it applies to something, well, that shows that there is something that's not created by God. So there is no omnipotent God that's responsible for everything, for all the content there is. That's just one metaphysical argument for God's non-existence. But it's really secondary to more obvious, like moral absurdities that when you get when you read the Bible and the Quran, and problems the religions create, and above all, eternal unspeakable torture and hellfire. That's also an argument that is false. So that's what my 5 cents is.